Hello and welcome to another massive episode of Overtime. It's been one of the biggest weeks in the NBL this year. The Tassie Jack Jumpers at the buzzer. The Wildcats on a tear. Melbourne and Sydney lived up to all expectation. But arguably the biggest thing, Cam Luke on a plane out of here. I'll tell you what, I get a call up. There's been some big Six Man of the Year sort of awards going on. Am I in contention, potentially, Liam Santamaria, Leonard Copeland? Could I get Six Man of the Year for this?
You're close. You keep doing what you're doing, and we're gonna take a vote. You're close.
Yeah, good to have you back. Cam is living his best life right now, isn't he?
Hasn't he always, though? Hasn't he always?
He's everywhere. He's at all the big games and all the big sports. But it's great to have you with us, man.
It is. There's a little more passion from you, I reckon, saying the Six Man of the Year. We weren't quite getting it, but let's jump right into it. United Kings, one of the best games of the year, down 19 points in the third quarter, Liam. And Sydney looked not a single chink in the armour, and United just, goodbye.
Yeah, what a wild game. But one of those real tale of two halves. It was billed as the game of the week. Top two teams clashing, the rivals, the big city rivals. And it looked for a while there, Copes, like Sydney were just going to walk all over them. I mean, just taking care of business in a big way. And then Chris Goulding happened.
Whatever Dean Vickerman said at halftime worked. Travers came out and had a great second half. I think he had 18 points, 12 rebounds, 3 blocks, 4 assists. He looked like a man on a mission. And once he got going, you start kicking the ball to Goulding. He started knocking down threes. The crowd gets involved. What a great game to watch.
Well, we'll have a look at the Chris Goulding highlights here because they're absolutely unbelievable. He's one of the few guys, he's winding back the clock, but he's one of the guys that's so hard to guard in the league. You look at this. 2013-14. Now, I'm not going to do the maths for you. That was a long time ago. A long time ago. 22.8, of course, a little bit higher on the average there. Yeah. But the percentage and the difficulty of the shots that he takes makes that percentage even more important than what we see right there.
He is playing at an unbelievable level. I mean, he really is. The level of defensive attention that he's receiving. You know, it's Bryce Cotton sort of style. Teams come in and they're like, look, the key to the game is to try to keep Chris Goulding under wraps. Now, he's very opportunistic. Those types of moments, bang, in transition, he's ready to step in, catch and fire. But it's the shots in the half court that have been the real, these kickouts, they're tough because you're scrambling, it's a broken play. His teammates know to find him in those moments. But it's those actions in the half court where he's running off picks, where he hits like this, that action right there. And the dribble handoff right here from Shea Ili. These types of shots are absolute backbreakers. So pouring 35, his third highest score of his entire career in a big game like that when they're coming from behind, that was an epic performance for a guy who is having an epic season.
100%. The tougher the shot, it looks like the easier it goes in. He's playing MVP style basketball right now. And I called it. I did say it.
Big Sauce called it. What are you talking about?
Okay, Big Sauce called it. We'll give him the Big Sauce. We'll talk to him later. But listen.
But MVP, legitimate MVP.
100%. It's between him and Cotton right now. But that changes because a couple of weeks ago it was Milton Doyle. And, you know, we got guys that are playing good basketball. And that's the best thing about the NBL.
It changes every week. I think the hardest thing with Chris Goulding and the craziest thing for me and the hardest thing to guard, he's one of the guys where he will stand there and somehow shoot a fadeaway without actually moving. He'll go from a standing start to fading away. And it's one of those coach killers where, you know, Chris Pongras was sitting, you know, at the game. And I saw him put his head in his hands a couple of times going like, come on, man, come on. Like, what else can we do?
But he's consistent with it. He makes those shots on a consistent basis. It's not a fluke.
He's just hit so many of them. The one over Moller, again, the throwdown from near half court. The fadeaway in the corner, I think that was maybe against New Zealand, the game prior to that.
When he had the 4-point play against the Illawarra Hawks.
He really is having a tremendous season. And look, he's not alone either. I mean, there are some other guys. I mean, Joe Lawala-Chul's been playing at a high level. You mentioned Luke Travers. Man, Luke Travers in that game, when things got tough, Luke Travers really got going.
Well, and it's not sexy. That's the thing why you're probably not going to get the same sort of media attention. Chris Goulding fading away, hitting these threes, the crowd lighting up. It's sexy. Luke Travers, he just gets the job done.
Yeah.
You know what I love about this game, though? Dean Vickerman played his starters. JLA 31 minutes, Travers 32, Goulding 35, and Shea 33. You don't see that a lot in this league this year. There's a lot of subs. Guys are playing 10 minutes, 12 minutes. He focused on those 4 guys, put them in the game, and they brought it home.
Thoughts on Mahmood down the stretch of the game? Lack of timeouts. Now, often I believe a long-term play. I think it's good, but there comes a point where, you know, every win in this league is very, very important. So, how much are you willing to do that? Teach your players to fight out on the floor, or do you just call the timeout and reset this thing?
Yeah, well, that game slipped through their fingers. They had it, right? And they let it go. And the momentum built and it built and it built, and he tried to let his guys play through that. Now, as you say, it's not the first time he's done that this season. He's not the first coach to do this either, right? Like Phil Jackson is the most famous example of this, of like, we give our guys reps at playing through tough times, and then later in the year, in the cut and thrust of the postseason, it comes home to roost. And if that helps me in Game 5 of a championship series, not call a timeout midway through the fourth because our guys can play through some stuff, and I can keep it for 3 seconds to go and advance the ball and win the championship off a play like that, I think that's the type of long-term play he's making. And it's going to be a playoff team. Like, if you're Illawarra or Brisbane and it's going to be touch and go, look, maybe not Illawarra. If you're Brisbane or Cairns and it's going to be touch and go, every win counts, right? For Sydney, they're going to be a top 4 team. So I think playing the long game like that works.
I got another coach who did it, Lindsey Gaze. Remember Lindsey sitting back with his hands behind his head, just letting us play through it. When you got guys on the floor with experience and know what they're doing, they'll huddle up, they'll get the job done. I mean, Lindsey, when you get all the work done in practice, during the game, it's your time, and that's what Lindsey did.
Do they have that though? This Kings team? I mean, maybe when Sean Bruce is out there, he's that type of leader, but is Jalen Adams, is Denzel Valentine, is DJ Ho? Who is that guy?
They have the experience, though. I mean, Adams is one of MVP.
But is he that kind of like floor general?
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Xavier Cooks was that type of dude, even though he wasn't the point guard. He was like, hey, listen, let's get in together, get sorted, get on the same page. And when Sean Bruce, like I say, when he's on the floor, but when he's not, I'm not sure they have that guy.
No, I think they've got a bit to work out. But let's jump onto the Wildcats here, because you tried to claim that you were Nostradamus just before with a couple of predictions. But Keanu Pinder actually walked the walk and talked the talk in one of his press conference earlier and predicted this 5-game winning streak.
I feel like, if we keep doing the same things we're already doing and we're working on with JR, we're gonna just explode and take off, and we're gonna have a 5-game win streak, 6-game win streak, and we're really gonna fire off. And I really believe that, and the guys believe that. That's why at the end of the games we're like, why is it not working? But it's gonna happen.
Do you hear that? Can you hear that?
Crickets.
What is that?
Crickets.
No, it's crickets. The John really haters. They've shut up. Nowhere to be seen.
Okay, David Larry.
Look like it, too, don't you?
But the Wildcats on a roll, and right now it seems to be Bryce Cotton and Doolittle that are getting the job done.
And John Rillie, like you say, and John Rillie, because, he was telling the team throughout that time, I don't think he was using the Will Weaver lingo of chop wood, carry water, but he was essentially telling them, just keep on keeping on. You're doing the work. We're going to break through. And then Keanu was kind of echoing those statements. And then now it's really paying dividends. And you're right, Christian Doolittle is feeling a lot more comfortable. He's not just that grunt guy at the defensive end of the floor for him. Look, he's putting on 21 and 9 and giving him a punch at the offensive end. Hiram Harris has been great. Cotton, as you say, Cope's back playing at an MVP level.
But here's the thing. It wasn't just us saying Perth were bad. The Red Army were saying it. They were ready to chop Riley's head off. Now, Keanu was the man in Cairns. Now, it was going to take some time for him to come in and fit into the program. Cotton's the man. The ball goes through Cotton's hands. So it's going to take a little time for Keanu to get in. But now he has a role. He knows he needs to rebound, he needs to play defense, and take the shot when it's available. It was always going to take some time. They're back on a roll. They'll finish in 3rd place.
I'm just trying to work out who
Melbourne, Sydney, Perth.
Just trying to work out who Keanu Pinder is.
Is he in the league?
I don't know, but maybe he's the difference because they've got him out there as well. But there's a lot of talk as well with Jordan Usher. People saying, we need more production, we need more this and that. You've won 5 games in a row. When Jordan Usher was putting up bigger numbers, you weren't winning games. Is this the right middle ground for him? Now, always with imports, you want a little bit more production, but don't fix it if it ain't broken.
Yeah, I mean, that said, the fact that he's not producing a lot means that there is some more upside for this team to tap into, because we've seen, he's a talented guy. If he can find a comfort zone, he can give some more. Keanu can go to another level. So now that they're defending, they're rebounding, this team still has more upside.
Well, one way that they've tapped into that upside.
Hold on. Championship contender, Can you see them
Yes.
winning, if it all
Yes.
breaks well for them, winning the title?
The one thing that I've learned in this game is never bet against the Wildcats. Never bet against the Wildcats. Remember the year that they lost almost 10 games straight or something like that and then went and won the championship? Never bet against the Wildcats. And one man who's been there for all of those is Jesse Wagstaff. Now, you look at the footage of him rebounding for the rookies. You know, we've all got that friend who's like, they work at the children's hospital. They save cats out of trees in their spare time. Wagstaff is setting the standard for us way too high.
Are you that guy?
I am most definitely the polar opposite. I'm putting the cats up in the tree.
Very cool footage. Very cool footage.
My God.
Just speaks to the character of the guy, right? And he's not expecting anyone to be filming that. That's not for show.
No.
He's been out there. He's been playing minutes. He's got the win. And now he's kind of popping out there and helping those other guys get extras.
From the other guys in Perth, the Vlahoffs, the Ricky Graces, those guys have been doing it for years and years. And now he's putting in his time. He'll be a coach one day, I think.
Did that same sort of stuff get passed down the Melbourne Tigers?
No. Let me tell you something. Straight up to practice, I'm out of there, bro. Shower. I'll catch you guys next week.
I'm out of there, bro.
I'm out of there.
I got an envelope of drink cards and I'm ready to go. That has been handed over the bar straight away.
There you go.
But I don't subscribe to that. They don't know the cameras are there. It's like the NBA guys that are shooting free throws after the game, and they know exactly who it was.
He's that kind of guy.
Jesse's for the cameras?
Are you saying that?
Devil's advocate. Jack McVeigh, game winner. What a nice little segue.
Jack knows where the camera is.
Jack knows where the camera is, of course. He knows where his own camera is, filming his own content.
Yes, sir.
But look, this was unbelievable. A fantastic finish to what was a fantastic game overall. Unbelievable.
Jack McVeigh is the kind of player that has fun on the floor. He's aggressive. He's arrogant with it, but he has fun with it. That's the kind of guy you want on your team. Now, when Adelaide let him go a couple of years ago, I lost my mind. Wow, he's young. He's enthusiastic about playing. How could you let a guy like this go?
Yeah.
And you're going this way, Adelaide. So, he's the kind of player you want. He's the kind of teammate you want because win or lose, look at this. Win or lose, he's the kind of guy in the locker room who's going to pick you up and go on with the game.
When he was in Adelaide, he'd come back. Where would he come back? Well, look at that photo. That's cool.
That's cool. That's when you hang up in the pool room. That's
Really
why he's going
is.
to keep that one for life.
Yeah,
That's great. And of course, we're going to speak on the man in the back there in a moment as well, who is impressive.
Yeah, that is very cool. When he was in Adelaide, he'd come back from Nebraska. He was a bubbly personality, but he was kind of just like that little young puppy dog that's kind of like, and the vets were kind of like, man, Jack McVeigh, like just chill out a little. He has grown into the perfect teammate. The perfect, like the ultimate coachable guy.
Yeah.
And you should follow him on social media. Yeah. Because the things that he says in terms of reflecting his mindset and the way he goes about like his outlook on life is great stuff.
Yeah.
And it helps him in those crunch time moments, right? Like I love the way he says, I used to struggle at the free throw line. I used to get stressed and nervous. And then I did this research and it said smiling helped you to feel more comfortable. So he actually consciously smiles when he shoots free throws to avoid getting nervous. And you've heard this over the years, right? How he looks himself in the mirror each day and says, I hit big shots.
Wow.
And so then in those moments, he's got that self-affirmation, that positive self-talk. And he's like, I'm not scared of this moment. I love these moments. I take big shots and I make big shots.
He embraces the challenge.
Do you look in the mirror like that?
Every day.
Maybe take the shine out that forehead the next time you do it.
Oh,
okay. I think it was Derek Rucker that said something really interesting on the Jack McVeigh stuff.
Yeah.
That you look at the measurables that he has, and it's not someone you would look as being an all-NBL second team sort of guy, but he seems to play outside of his athleticism, outside of his ability, and just takes himself to another level.
He's a winner. He wants to win, man. Bottom line, he wants to win, and he's bringing his boys along with him.
You know, he's also a good example of when a coach pulls a guy from a certain situation and says, you've thought you were this or this, actually you're this. So Jack McVeigh used to tweet things, #BigGuard.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah.
And when Scott Roth signed him, he said, you're a power forward. You're going to be our Jesse Wagstaff forever. You're a power forward in this league. Yeah. When Adam Ford signed Keanu Pinder, he said, forget all those threes. You're a 5 man. You're playing the 5 every moment of every game for us. And so I think there's something to be said for looking around the league, finding guys who are a little caught between spots and simplifying it for them.
What did Dean say to you
Dean said, get off my team and never come back.
That's right. There we go.
And they've been on the up ever since. That's great.
Gotta get him back.
Let's chat Will Magnay, because he's been, the man, the myth, the legend, but for so long he's been the myth because he just hasn't been able to stay out healthy. And I'll tell you what, someone get me a 4x4 piece of timber, because I need to touch wood here, that he stays healthy. Because Magnay at his best is elite, and we saw that against New Zealand. 20 points, 13 rebounds, and 4 blocks in 16 minutes, if you don't mind.
Outrageous.
He's an NBA player. He's an NBA player. He just needs to be healthy. When he's healthy, he is one of the best big men in the league by far.
When I watched this game, I saw his impact. That was excuse me. That was I was very excited about that moment.
Yes, you were.
Very excited the way he kind of gave it to Mango Mathieu. He looks great, doesn't he? You remember when he came back from the Pellies and he was a little top heavy?
Yeah.
Now he looks tremendous. And I watched that game, I saw the impact. I looked at the box score, 2013 and 4. And then I saw that's like a 36-minute line.
Yeah, it is.
16 minutes, outrageously productive.
Well, there was that period where, for a long time, he was rumoured when he was at Brisbane to be going to the Summer League. We said he's leaving in 10 days for an NBA contract, and it never eventuated. But
well, he had a cup of coffee with the Pellies.
Yep.
He had a cup of coffee. It didn't work out. He came back, but that was two-way Magnay type of business. What he did on the weekend.
Healthy, he's special. Bottom line.
What's the trick there, then?
Keep him healthy. What do you mean?
Oh, keep him healthy. Okay, Leonard Copeland, come here. Could somebody get Will Magnay on the line? We got Dr. Copeland has just solved the issue over here.
Just keep him healthy. Keep him healthy. Just keep him healthy.
That's the one. On Jack McVeigh, do you reckon that he's a legitimate All-NBL second team chance right now, the way he's playing?
Second team?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Easy.
He's in that mix.
Love it. Well, we're going to cut to a quick break. But I'll tell you what, the Hawkies, all their problems are solved. They're back. Everything's fixed. Up next.
Justin Tatum in his first game as a professional head coach, coaching up a storm here. And that is game. The Hawks win on the road at Spark Arena. It's all smiles for Justin Tatum and the Illawarra Hawks.
It was fun for me. These guys are very good at what they do, but it was very fun for me to come out there and be with this group of guys that I've been with the last 4 months, looking at them, being allowed to see them play to their potential for one time. And so it was very enjoyable being on the sideline with them.
The single greatest bet in sports, taking a team on the back of letting their coach go. Liam Santamaria, Leonard Copeland. The Hawkies, obviously not all issues are fixed. It was the cellar-dweller clash, but exactly what they wanted to see. You want to change, you got it, and now you're in the winners list.
It was fun to watch.
Yep.
I mean, it was a grind of a game, right? I think it was 60-something to 60-something. It was a tough watch at times, but it was fun to see the Hawkies get that win.
If we say that the first versus second clash lived up to expectation, we could probably say the same with the Illawarra New Zealand clash. Unfortunately, but you know what? They were desperate for a win and they got it.
Well, listen. Justin said to the players, if you're not playing defense, you're going to come over here and sit with me. To hold that team to 60-plus points is a great job. You say what you want to say. Guys are out there playing hard. The thing I loved about the game was he got Frawling involved. Frawling had his first double-double, I think, for the year. He felt like he's a part of the team. You know, so anytime you can get a win, wherever it is, you take it. And I know they're happy with it.
He's got that Jerry Tarkanian, Joe Connolly white towel thing happening, which is kind of cool. And he got a response. They played really hard all game long, and he was rewarding guys. He was swinging the rotations. 12 guys got in that game and played a few minutes, but that's because they were playing hard. And he was like, listen, get out there, play hard for me, I'll give you a rest. And they got the win.
How much do we read into that? Like, obviously, Tatum hasn't had a huge amount of time to implement new change, and there was nothing that jumped out during the game, to me, at least personally, that was a massive change. The subs were thick and fast. Was there anything where you thought, okay, well, this is something that we might see from the Hawks moving forward that's a distinct change from what we saw under Jackamus?
He's talked about wanting them to play a little looser offensively. Which I think is probably a good approach.
It's an interesting one to say play looser to Tyler Harvey and Robinson. Like, how loose can we get, man?
But also, like, I just want to unlock all the things you guys can do offensively, and take the focus back towards, I'm going to coach the heck out of the defense, and I'm going to let you guys play and have some fun offensively. And I think that'll help get the best out of Justin Robinson and Tyler Harvey. And it's certainly made Gary Clark and Sam Froling look a lot better as well.
Attitude. Their attitude changed. I mean, like you said, anytime you bring in a new coach, guys want to prove to this coach what they can do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The new guy, I want to get some time. I'm going to bust my butt in practice, first of all, and then I'm going to show him what I can do in the game. And Frawling, again, Frawling played great basketball today.
Yeah.
You got him involved. He wasn't taking wild shots. He's going in the middle, laying the ball up. This is old Frawling to me, and we didn't have that this year from him.
I mean, it says a lot about Sam Frawling that we're talking about old Frawling, and he's, what, 23?
That's right. Last year Frawling.
I feel you, though. I feel you, because, you know, like, they need him to be a star.
That's right.
Don't they? Like, he is essentially their marquee guy, right? You want 3 imports and an Aussie or a local that's a legit all-NBL level guy.
He's a captain as well.
He needs to be that for them, doesn't he? He was great. Gary Clark scores tied, about 45 seconds left. That offensive rebound. An emphatic putback dunk.
Yep.
I think that was the play of the game. That was huge. And hopefully that unlocks Gary Clark, because he has the potential to be an all-NBL level guy.
How good do you feel as a team, though, to go on the road when you haven't won in 2 or 3 years, to get a win? You got a new coach, you got a new attitude. Now you take that back to practice.
Oh, yeah.
And you feel like a better team. They might make the finals.
No.
I'm just kidding. I'll relax. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. I'll tell you what. Let's just get this car back on the road for a moment here. AJ Johnson's a guy that we'd expect to hopefully get some more minutes, and I'll tell you what, he came out and he flushed it on my man Dane Pinot. The last time Dane Pinot was dunked on like this, he ended up on a Hungry Jack's hat from Xavier Cooks for the entire off-season.
Watch him walk off. He walks off like he don't want to.
He knows.
He knows.
Oh, that's on repeat. That is on repeat.
Bye-bye, Dane.
Yeah.
But how excited are we? Because he's a guy that we've all been saying, hey, we want to see him more, and we know how these next stars get better so quickly when they see court time. And right now, Illawarra, you know, they want to win games, but a lot of it's development. A lot of it's going to be development. And AJ Johnson is a guy that could be exciting, 6 weeks down the track.
I love his springs. I love his enthusiasm. I love his speed up and down the floor. You can find a spot for him. You can find some room for him. He'll make that team better.
He is ready to go.
He is.
He is champing at the bit, bursting at the seams, whatever you want to say. And I can't wait for them to start to play him more and find him more. Kick it ahead. When the outlet comes to J-Rob or Bawali, but kick it ahead to this kid up the sidelines. Throw it up to him, coach. Yep. Throw it up to him, because he'll go and get it.
He's the kind of kid, though, you can tell him to go run through a wall and he'll do it, man. You know, he's young. He's impressionable. You can tell him, I need you out there playing D, grabbing rebounds. He'll do whatever you want because he just wants that time.
We've seen over the years with next stars, right? Some guys, LaMelo Ball, Josh Giddey, as soon as they roll out, they're ready to go. And that's been Alexander Sarr and Bobby Klintman and Alex Tui. Some guys like Usman Jiang, for example, it takes a little longer because they are young and it's a grown man's league, and maybe the first half of the season might be tricky. Well, we're 1/3 of the way in. He's done some serious work on the day-to-day at practice to get ready and be ready, and now he's ready to go.
Exciting prospect. Let's flip the coin, because we've spoken about the winners. It's time to talk about the losers. That's when we really get to dig in the claws here, Leonard. This is what you want. Brisbane Bullets. Now, the late game fade outs, and it's not necessarily...
Your boys.
You've been on Brisbane Island. I'll tell you what, you are running out of meat. Quokkas, I don't know what they got running around that island, but they're all gone, man. The fish have dried up. Yeah. There is nothing left for you to eat on Brisbane Island. Are you putting the flares out? What are you doing?
No, I'm staying put. I'm digging my heels into the sand on Brisbane Island.
Okay, Tom Hanks on Castaway. Justin Schuller spoke on the late game fade outs here. He said there's way more before just the end of the game. Now, of course, this is what you're probably going to say. If we can translate this into gentleman's English, we're failing down the stretch.
Yeah, and that's what's been going on. And he mentions down the bottom that Shannon Scott's coming back, and he'll help him in that regard. He's that point guard, he's that floor general. But hey, Mitch Norton's been there. And whilst he may not be scoring the ball in those big moments, he also is the guy that, as a point guard, can get the ball into the right spots. They have not been getting it done in late game situations. That's the bottom line. You can talk about the other 38 minutes or whatever it is you want to do. But those other 36, 38 minutes have put you in winning positions a couple of times in a row here, and you've let it slip away.
Listen, I don't do this usually. I'm going to give them a break. You got to give these guys a break. I'm going
agree.
to give them a break because they're a new team. They got new coaches. They got new players. Their starting point guard, the guy they brought in to run the show, is out. It's going to take them a little time. They've done well so far. You got to give them credit. I don't usually do this. I'm giving them a little credit. All right, so if Shannon Scott's in there, they start to win some of these games. And I see them playing in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, I I like a lot of what they've been doing. And it sort of reminds me a little bit now, they're not going to be the Sydney Kings of that first championship year with Jalen Adams. But remember when they were letting games slip away early in that season? They couldn't work out a way how to close games. And then they start to figure that out, and then they were roaring through the second half of the season. Now, this is not going to be that. Yeah. But they do need to figure out a little bit more of what they're doing in late game situations. And I think Nathan Sobey taking tough pull-up threes on the regular or tough pull-up jumpers on the regular in crunch time is not the answer.
You know what hurts them as well? Nathan Sobey's a great player. Driving to the basket, hitting the ground on a miss, and teams running out. Now it's 5-on-4.
And that's being scouted. We know that has been scouted. We spoke about that.
He hits the ground. And I hear coaches go, get up, get up, get up, because now it's 5-on-4, and they score easy. And
well, my 2 cents that absolutely no one asked for nor requires is that, look, Brisbane have too many laughs behind the camera, that one. There was some venom in that one. But Brisbane, they were in absolute shambles last year.
Yeah.
And it takes time to build that culture of winning. We're talking front office, on court, head coach, new coach, and I strongly believe that Justin Schuller is the right man for this team, and I think they're going to get better and better. But they've got a lot of new guys within there, so there's been a lot of change. So we cannot expect this all to work perfectly, but at least there's a tangible thing that we can see is going wrong. It's not like everything's a mess. What's happening? It's just just clean some stuff up late game. You're fine.
Well, but my view on that late game stuff is getting the ball through hands.
Yep.
Everybody touching it and just finding the open man has got you to that winning position.
Yep.
Late in games, then just going it a little bit more individual and say, all right, well, let's ride Nathan to the end. That's not the answer.
But sometimes coaches do that because he's your captain, he's your leader.
Nope.
You put the ball in his hands and you say, take us home. Some coaches do that.
How much is that fixed when Shannon Scott's back in the team, though, to lead them down the stretch?
Hopefully a lot. For their sake, hopefully a lot. Get the ball through hands. Continue to feed the big fellas. They've gone small a couple of times in crunch time. I don't think that's worked particularly well. Continue to lean into what gotten you to that winning position in the first place.
I just got word that a container ship is passing by your little Brisbane island shortly. So if you do want to jump off, I'm just letting you know, man. Hey, just wave that flare and you can get there. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's go to Cairns. And no, we're not talking Gilligan's, unfortunately. We're talking to Cairns Taipans.
You would know a lot about Gilligan's.
Oh, I tell you what. We'll stay up for the overtime up late and we'll roll into that one. But the funky lineup of Tajir McCall, Pat Miller and Armstrong is an interesting one to say the least. Now, Leonard, second in the league in defence, so clearly, this isn't something that's going AWOL, but it's interesting on the offensive end.
And perhaps that's what he's focusing on. He wants to stop teams, shut teams down. We still got enough scoring on the floor where we can get it done, but let's put these 3 guys out there to shut everyone else down to give us a better chance. Now, it's not working.
Yeah.
But it's going to, again, that's 40, and he tries different things. It's going to take some time for him, just like it takes time for everybody else. He's got new players. He's got talent. He's got something to work with. It's going to take some time.
I'll tell you what.
I'm being nice.
You're being nice because coaches, players, they come at Leonard. No one comes at you harder when you make an opinion. They come, they say, Leonard said this, Leonard said that. You're just being a little too nice.
Okay. They care. They care what you say.
100%.
They do.
I don't care what they say, but it's all right.
It looks like they're still trying to work out who they are and what they are, right? Like, the defense is great because Adam Ford always says these guys play hard.
Yeah.
So he keeps them accountable at that end of the floor. I'm not so sure about that lineup. He started both last 2 games with that group, Armstrong, Miller, McCall. 3 non-shooters on the floor together with a Sam Wardenberg who's shooting 22% from 3 on the year.
Not good.
Yeah.
So that's why what did they last in offensive efficiency over the course of the season? So they got to work all that out. I think Clintman coming back, and of course I think that, but I think Clintman coming back into the lineup will help after the FIBA break. But I quite like the idea that Miller and Armstrong were not going to spend a lot of time on the floor together. They were going to split those minutes a little bit. And I reckon when he gets the full lineup back together, he's probably going to go more back towards that.
Knowing 40, he'll make some changes. He always does. He always ends up making the right decisions. They'll be okay.
Quick one. The interesting one for me for the Taipans this year has been the hype that was surrounding Taron Armstrong coming into the year. Now, it's been interrupted a little bit with injuries, but we just haven't seen that same sort of, like even in the Blitz for the small time we saw him, that nice, slow, poised guy that we saw in America. We haven't quite seen that translate over. Are you concerned at all, or do you think it's just a matter of just getting used to the adult game?
He needs shooters. He needs to be kicking that ball out and finding guys who are going to knock it down. He's averaging like 3 assists a game or something. I expected him to be averaging 7.5. But he doesn't have a lot of guys on that squad that are knocking shots down. Lat Mayen's shooting the ball well.
Right.
Bill Quall's shooting the ball pretty well. But yeah, he hasn't yet had that kind of breakout NBL performance that we're waiting for.
I'll tell you what, I reckon it's coming because he's a great player and Adam Ford's a great coach. You'll be able to get out of him. But come to a break now. Coming up next, my man, Olgun Ulich, the ice cream man with all the scoops. Welcome back to NBL Overtime. It is time to crack down on all the latest breaking news, a little bit of old stuff as well, because our resident basketball ESPN insider, if I've got your title correct there, Olgun Ulich, welcome in.
Hi, Felix. Hey, guys. I've been watching from afar. This has felt so loose.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm excited to be on it.
A little loose. Just a little loose today.
Well, let's straighten up, guys. Come on, behave yourselves. Will McDowell-White, fibula injury. It does not sound good by any stretch, and we'll have a look at the injury and how it happened. The fibula, I believe that is the part of the body that we are referring to there. The leg, we also refer to it as, but it didn't look good. Now, did it happen in that incident? Was it further down the court a little bit before?
So we don't really know. That's where we thought it happened, and you can see him being pretty ginger on that, and he obviously sat out the rest of that game. He's out for 6 weeks. There was a fracture of that fibula. It did not look very good, and it's just getting from bad to worse for New Zealand. They're already missing Zylan Cheatham, who was initially out for 6 to 8 weeks with that foot fracture. That's now down to 4 to 6 weeks. You can see McDowell-White out for 6 weeks. Justinian Jessup out for the season with that hip injury. They brought Anthony Lamb in, obviously, but this is a team that were already affected by the FIBA World Cup. So many of their guys were with the New Zealand Tall Blacks during that time. They were affected by the NBA preseason game as well, and so they were already behind the 8 ball, and these injuries just haven't helped.
Liam and Leonard, it seems like over the last couple of years we're just used to hearing these just sad results, whether it be COVID having to play on the road, now the injuries list for the Breakers. You know, is this the end of their season with Will McDowell-White out? The way they are on the ladder right now? You'd have to be going close.
I think they're cooked.
Yeah.
I think they stick a fork and all. Have them for Thanksgiving. I said it when the Zylan Cheatham injury happened.
Yeah.
This is a devastating blow to this team.
I think they got to go get somebody else. At the end of the day, you got too many injuries, and the guys on the floor aren't really producing. And I know I probably shouldn't say a lot about this, but Abercrombie for me, 6 points, 0 points, 0 points, 3 points in the last 4 games. You're not giving me anything.
And this is a team that just beat Tasmania on the weekend. Yeah. Don't forget. Then they went home and they lost to Illawarra. So it's a good win. And they're going to have some good wins.
Yeah.
But they're going to have just as many, I think, with the way the injuries have hit them, they're going to have just as many tough losses like they had to Illawarra at home. And I think it's going to leave them on the outside looking in.
Can they bring someone else in? Or?
So they can bring someone else in, right? And they're trying to. They're looking to see what's out there. Unfortunately, there just isn't much out there from an import perspective. And we've spoken about this a lot, why it's so tough to bring someone like that in. But even from a local perspective, there's just not much out there. Rob Lowe is someone who has left Melbourne United, and so he's ostensibly available, but they've had that talk, and it doesn't seem like that's going to happen. And so they almost have to ride this out until Christmas, keep their head above water, but they're 3-7 right now, and so it's really, really tough.
Rob Lowe's New Zealand number? Might not be getting through on that Aussie one.
And when you say there's not a lot out there, you're not allowed to go grab anyone from the G League. Can't you offer someone from the G League a job?
Yeah, the issue, and we spoke about this before, the issue that they've got is that they've been making calls and saying, we want you, come over for 4 weeks, 5 weeks. Right. And guys are like, I need a season-long situation now. Not many guys right now are willing to or keen to do that, especially guys at a high level. The thing is, when Zylan Cheatham comes back, it's going to be a team you do not want to play in the back end of the season.
Right. Yeah.
If they make the top 6.
Yeah, I mean, even if they don't, that's in the last part of the... Like, remember that Scotty Hobson team that didn't quite make it, but no one wanted to play them at the end of the year? Yeah. This team could potentially become that.
How long does Cheatham have until he's back on court?
Probably 4 to 6 weeks. And so but basically you're looking at Christmas for everybody, for McDowell-White and for Cheatham. And to go on the back of your point, Liam, the guys who are available now, especially imports, they are either not good enough, the guys who are willing to sign those short-term deals, or they're quite good, but they come with red flags. And you don't want to do that if you're a Breakers team. You want to try to keep this team, whatever the semblance of this team you have right now, you want to try and keep that together.
I'm red flagging him. Hey, if he's good and he's got a red flag, get his ass over here right now.
Jeremy Tyler.
Yeah, bring him over.
Greg Whittington.
4 games, get him in, get him out.
The Breakers did this when they brought in Glenn Rice, right? And that wasn't and that's just not a situation, anything like that you want to be part of, right? So you might as well try to keep your head above of order as opposed to bringing in someone with red flags.
Well, sometimes the segues just write themselves here because Glenn Rice Jr., and we're going to go in right now. Gary Brown, left, right, good night. Well, not quite that bad on Toey's fifth milder. You were in the building in Adelaide and violence ensued. Gary Brown Jr. on a striking charge. Now, not much in it, but, rules are rules and you've got to go with them. I think he's probably lucky there that he hit a guy as thick as Toey.
Tony thought it was like a mosquito or something, or a fly or something. He didn't even look back.
Gary said, hey, that's for Magnay.
But that was from Magnay. It's an interesting one for me because if Toey drops there and falls to the ground and, hams it up a bit, that looked like a decent swing. And I think he's looking at a lot more than what he got.
I mean, closed fist. That plays a part in it. I think we heard Scott Butler on the call basically saying, we don't really know what that was. It was very tough to see it at the time. I think they reviewed it. It was over $1,000, that fine, and then early guilty plea, he accepted that down to 700. And so it's just like it's a shot to the pocket a little bit. But yeah, I wonder. Yeah, it's a weird one.
It could have been a lot worse what it was. And if Gary Brown's out of that South East Melbourne lineup, then they're in a bit of trouble there. But let's go into the Adelaide 36ers import search, which I feel like we've been talking about for a month now. And are they still searching? Have they found anyone? Where are we playing?
So I'm told that they're no longer searching. So initially, when they brought in Dejan Vasiljevic, that was to replace Jamal Franklin. You still had an import up your sleeve. You would obviously have to waive someone in order to bring someone else in. But they were looking for an import big. As of now, I'm told that search has stopped. And so they are going to roll with the team that they've got. And this wasn't a reactive thing after their win over South East Melbourne. This was something that they had decided prior to that. And so this team that they have is something that they're going to go forward with, whether it's one that can actually make the play in. They've been playing slightly better since Vasiljevic has entered that lineup, but they obviously do have a talent deficiency, only going with 2 imports and when basically 1 or 2 sort of marquee-ish level guys.
Are they paying other guys outside of this?
They're paying Jamal Franklin.
It's like financial babushka dolls. You get one, you replace that one, you replace that one. Now we're out of money.
That probably plays a role. The owner's saying, look, I've put out enough money here. You guys figure it out.
And they are kind of figuring it out a little.
Yeah, they are.
Right?
I think on that topic, I think we have to remember, and fans have to remember, that it is expensive play to be replacing imports during the season.
Yes.
Because these guys sign watertight contracts that have them paid out. So as much as you can say, oh, you made the error, we've got to find another guy. Sometimes this money doesn't grow on trees, and it's just not feasible to do it. You've just got to swallow the tough pill and say, we messed this up. We've got to find a way to work it out with what we've got.
What they have, though, is a better opportunity if they wanted to do it, if they still, and you're saying that they don't, but if they wanted to, a better opportunity to do it than what New Zealand have, because they will be offering a season-long opportunity.
Sure. Yeah.
You don't have a great situation with what you've got, or you're not playing, or whatever it is. Come in here, rock out for the rest of the NBL season and have some fun. But you're saying they're not going to go that way.
But it looks like Adelaide are getting, like you said, a little bit closer. The guys, I was down there on the weekend, and the guys are having fun. They're jumping around. Although they're not winning a lot of games, they feel like they're on a team that are close.
If you look at the difference between the Adelaide 36ers at the Blitz and the 36ers we got now, they're looking like primetime Lakers compared to what we saw in the Brits. So credit to CJ Bruton, who was under a lot of heat at the start of the season. He's been able to somewhat turn this around and put some pieces in there. But the Illawarra Hawkies got to win. Tatum, statistically the best coach in the history of the NBL with a 100% record right now. Are they a 5-year extension? What are we working with?
This guy's funny.
I mean,
they are in the business of giving out big
extensions based on zero evidence. Well, no, the impression I got even before the win was that the Illawarra Hawks were willing to ride out Justin Tatum as head coach until the end of the season. He has a relationship with the owner, Jared Novelli. They're both from St. Louis, and so this was a relationship that was there prior to him coming in. When he came in, it was almost flagged that, hey, he could be someone who can step in as head coach if we need to do that. And so it wouldn't surprise me if he stays for the remainder of the season while they continue their search to potentially find something long term. But if Justin Tatum performs well, maybe that's the guy.
Yeah, before we cut to the break, is there a chance, because he hasn't been a head coach for a professional team before, his record is entirely high school, and I'm not against keeping a guy like that. If they can coach, they can coach. Someone's got to hire them for the first time to be a professional. But is there an actual school of thought that could be, okay, if Tatum rolls this season out and the guys like him, he's going to be our guy?
I mean, having a connection with ownership is one of the most valuable things you can have in this business. And so Justin Tatum has that. If he can demonstrate success, then it wouldn't be a terrible decision. But from what I understand, there is an open search right now, so they are looking for someone.
Give him a shot.
Of course, if you're winning, why not?
Yeah, absolutely.
Tell you what, a week's a long time in basketball. That could change very quickly with the Hawkies. But coming up next, Alan Williams. Thank you, Olgun, as we cut to a break.
I'm a basketball player, man. And Lamar Copeland told me at the start, he's here to, watch me hoop. And he said if I didn't hoop well, he's not coming back. So, full credit to him. And it's all about winning, man. I love the city. I love the fans. They were great tonight, but I love this team more. And we just gave everything and, got the win.
Oh, I'll tell you what, if your team is struggling, if a player's struggling, and just get Leonard to diss them on air, in person, and they're just going to lift their game. Because our man who joins us now, Alan Williams, he was saying, you can't get double-doubles, you can't do this. What'd you do?
Just did my job. That's it. Just like being here today.
Politically correct. Politically correct.
Yeah, we took an L.
You're out here just inspiring dudes, Coach?
Well, no, I just said to him, you need to play. They brought you in here to shoot the ball. And he looks comfortable now. You're too comfortable. You're losing.
He doesn't need talent to shoot the ball, surely.
You start feeling like you're just a player rather than being the man.
Right.
They brought you in to be the man. Get it up.
Okay.
That's what I said to him.
Adelaide 36ers, up 18. Talk us through, because we saw the opposite with Melbourne, of course. They came back against Sydney. For you guys, weren't so lucky. You were on the receiving end of the L there. Talk us through it.
Yeah, we went out there with a mentality of wanting to get the win going into the break and understanding that was a big thing that we wanted. And the first half, we did a tremendous job of defending and moving the basketball. And then in the second half, the wheels kind of fell off there. And we allowed them to get back into the game. We allowed that great Adelaide crowd, there was an amazing crowd there that night, to get back into the game, and DJ got rolling. It
was an energy level for me. It looked like you guys came out, you were comfortable, we're up 18, let's just get the win and get home. Is that the way it felt like?
I don't necessarily think it was get the win and get home, but it was one of those things where it's like, you're comfortable and you're confident. And I knew, and I think a lot of our other veteran guys knew, that this game is far from over. In this league, anything can happen, and we've seen it all season long. And, our focus wasn't there. And like you said, Coach, our energy level wasn't there. And I think anybody that was in the arena, anybody that watched that game saw that kind of taper down in the second half.
Source, we just saw the play on there about Dejan Vasiljevic. He got going, as you say, down the stretch. What was the issue for you guys in kind of keeping him under wraps?
Yeah, I think in the first half we did a good job making him shoot contested shots, making him take some tougher ones, but he's a guy kind of like Chris Goulding where he sees one go in and it just opens up for him. And so we didn't do a good enough job of taking him and putting him in situations to miss shots. And then on the other end, we didn't attack him downhill enough. We didn't attack him with our pace and our space enough. And so we allowed him to chill on that end.
This one was
tough.
Tough. And there's probably, as you said, I think
shot.
you hit the nail on the head there. There's two guys in the league where if you're a coach or a player, you're hanging your head going, oh, we're in for it here if they start lighting up. And it's DJ and Chris. They can they can win you games, they can lose you games. Who else?
Bryce
Cotton.
like that.
Bryce Cotton.
Wake up, bro.
Milton Doyle.
Don't do that.
Jalen Adams.
I wouldn't put Milton Doyle in that same category. I wouldn't put Milton Doyle in the category of a shooter where you're like, okay, he's going to go for 40 here. I think Milton Doyle can kill you, but I don't think he's that sort of bad shot maker.
Down the stretch, though, if you give Milton Doyle that ball, he's going to come back.
No, I think you're saying, though, like those game breakers, right?
Yeah.
That's what Chris Goulding does. That's what DJ does. That's what Bryce can do. And so we have a good amount of guys in the league that can do it.
Leave yourself out of the conversation when you talk about game breakers.
I'm not pulling up from half court and shooting threes and knocking them in.
You want to, though. You want to.
Hey, look, I'll be getting them up at practice. So don't be surprised if after this break you see me space it out a little bit.
Okay, there we go.
I will be surprised.
Okay, there it is. There it is.
What's it like going in? You mentioned going into the fever break. Now, the last thing you want to do is lose going into the fever break because the coach is going to be on you. There's probably a couple of rest days that have been vetoed that were in there originally in the schedule. But, of course, giving up an 18-point lead like that, it's tough going into a break like this because when you have a loss, you just want to get back on the court as quick as possible.
Yeah, absolutely, Felix. I think the biggest thing for this window that we all have now is just to really reflect on that first part of the season, see the things you've done well and you haven't done well, and then try to regroup and get that thing going for the last push. We're a talented enough team, so we believe in ourselves and our mentality that we have, and so we just have to have the work through these couple of weeks here to really get that thing going.
Sauce, what was the locker room like right after the game, though? I mean,
solid.
Was it
solid? Solid, man.
Yeah.
Like we understood the opportunity that we had. We saw where we could be on the ladder. We win that game, and now we're in third place. Now we're sitting back in fifth, outside looking in. We understand that every single moment matters. Shout out to the NBL hashtag right there.
Look at this guy.
Every single moment matters, but in reality, it's the truth. And so we'll look back down in January and wish we had that one back. But all we can do now is move forward, and this break gives us an opportunity to get some rest, some recovery, and to regroup and make a push in this latter part of the season.
Have you apologized for your egg comments?
No. I have not apologized because I'm expecting nothing but the best from this guy. And he gave me his best, but his best wasn't good enough those last 2 games, so I brought those eggs. But listen,
You were there. You sat courtside. You watched this.
I was there. I sat courtside. Now, to be honest, I'll be honest with you. The first half, me and Drew were like, this one's over. This one's over. That's how we were.
Killing.
They're killing them. You're up 18 points. They're going to him. He's going to work. He's messing with the crowd. He's feeling good. And the Creek was doing well as well. But then the second half, they came out. The energy was just, they were just going through the motion in warm-ups as if the game was over. And teams do that. I mean, it's happened to us before. So I'm saying you gotta, like he said, you gotta come out and play every game.
Because you guys were known as the team you can always come back on.
Always,
right?
You can beat us, but you can always come back on.
No, you'd always give them a chance.
You always
That's
let
the
somebody
idea.
in the game at the end because you take it. Look, you look at the game and go, we got these guys. It's over. Take your foot off. Drew's yelling and screaming, come on, pick it up. But yeah, and I know what he's going through.
Well, they had a three-point line back when you were playing.
Yeah, they had a three-point line back there.
I was just saying,
they had me shooting that jump shot and going in too, bro. You see my jersey hanging
The only reason why I brought that up, the only reason why I asked that is to emphasize the fact that as long as the three-point shot is in the game, none of these teams are out of it.
That's right.
Everybody in the NBL has guys out there that can make and take big shots like that from the three-point line. And if they get going, it can really bring a team back into the game and shift.
What do you guys need going forward, though? I mean, I know you want rest. Do you need any of your players to pick it up? Is there anybody that's injured? What do you think you need going forward?
Yeah, I don't think anyone individually has to do anything special. I think us as a collective, and I'm sure there's a number of teams during this part of the NBL season that are going to be like, you know what, we just all have to figure out a way to finish games, one, and two, be more solid on the defensive end. We try to hang our hat on defense. Every team wants to be in that top four of the defensive ladder because they understand what that means going into the playoffs. We have to be better on that side of the ball.
Yeah. I want you to share your thoughts on Trentyn Flowers because he's a guy that was probably unfairly at the beginning of the season because of his performance in the blitz at the point guard position, which he was out of position there, was really rated as, a lot worse than what he actually is. You look at 13-9 against you, but you were surprised by his physicality.
Yeah, I think Trentyn is built for the NBA now. His body is there. Although he's still young and there's still things he has to work out, his mentality on the glass was phenomenal during that game. I remember going up for a rebound one time, and he comes over my head, hits me in the back of my head, grabs the rebound, puts it up in there for a layup, and just that go-get-it mentality that he kind of has. You talk about the start of the season that he had. He could have easily just chalked it up and been like, you know what, this isn't for me. I'm going to do whatever I want to do and just try to get to the draft. But he's put in the work, and Adelaide and CJ have done a good job of giving him opportunities to show all the tools that he has in his toolkit.
You know what he brings? He brings energy.
Yeah.
Every rebound, every steal, every dunk, every shot, he's trying to get the crowd involved. Now, someone had to tell him that Adelaide crowd will get involved and they'll get you going. Because whatever happens in the game, he's trying to get this crowd going. And him, DJ, those guys were really pumped, and that's how they got back in the game in the second half.
It's big for him.
It's big for him.
It's big for him. And Wiley's in that mix
Wiley's
as well.
in that
It's a guy
mix
who
as
can
well,
get that done. I've been really impressed by the way he's handled himself. Because, you've seen some comments, media asking him, what if you don't play heaps of minutes? And he was like, listen, play, don't play. I'm not going to change.
Yeah.
I'm going to support my team. You see him on social media posting about DJ, about Wiley, about guys that are out there getting it done. And then he gets his opportunity, like he did against you guys, 25 minutes, nearly gets a double-double, plays a huge role in getting a win.
Just listening to a couple of interviews from him, especially after he's had his big game earlier in the year, he has changed my perception of him. The way he played early on, you just got, maybe this kid's a little bit, internally about himself. He's totally changed that perception, and I am well and truly on the bandwagon. I think he's going to have a good run heading into the FIBA break. Now, I know you ain't short of cash. I know you got a bit of money floating around, so you might be having a bit more fun than others. Have you got any plans?
Yeah, we'll train throughout the week. I know some teams have taken extended periods of time off, but we're in the gym, we're training. We actually have a community event going on Wednesday, heading down to Traralgon in the Gippsland area and giving back and supporting some of those schools down there and showing our face. So I'm looking forward to that, but also I have a weekend trip to Gold Coast.
There we go.
I'll go.
Let me just
My wife and I will head
tell you
down
something,
there.
bro.
It'll be good.
You can't lose. You can't be up 18 and lose and think you can't train. You need to be training every day, the whole team.
I was there.
Train every day.
Ankles
No
take-
vacation.
Ankles
No
take-
go coach?
Nothing.
Hold up.
Can't go to the Gold Coast?
Nothing.
Hold up.
Gotta go to Gold.
Is Grandpa finished yelling? Can I cut to the break? Old man yells at cloud. It's time to cut to the break. Santa's watching. Thank you, Alan Williams. And yes, no, coming up next.
Are you going to stop shooting?
It's getting close to that time of year, fellas. Santa's watching. What is Trentyn Flowers wearing on his feet?
Bernard used to look like he's playing defence in those things.
What is that?
Hey, he's got incredible swag. Incredible. Meanwhile, Krislevik on the right of your screen cannot get any love.
It's all about Jack McVeigh and Jack Jumper Lamb.
Poor
Don't
dog.
care about anyone.
Hey, staying in Tasmania, Kelsey Brown on the left of your screen, just taking in the Scott Roth huddle.
Looks like she's about
Jordan
to sub in.
Crawford has the chapstick, hands it to his man, and then he offers it to Kelsey.
What?
What's
Like,
going on there?
no,
Nah, man. How many fouls on Bryce Cotton, fellas?
22, and I'll tell you what, this is classic Red Army officiating. Look at that, they're letting him play with 22 fouls.
Hey, you like the Dennis Rodman hair?
You better play like Dennis Rodman.
You like that?
Yeah, please.
You better be. Oh,
And this is my man Anthony. This is how he gets to the game in the pouring rain.
That's why he's ready to roll. He's already loose.
whatever happened to the imports? They used to throw a car into the deal as well. They don't do that anymore in New
No,
Zealand.
sir.
Just roll
No.
with the bike. Well, okay,
Bike.
well, it's time to head into Yes, No, my favourite segment here. We'll start it off with you, Lamb. The NBL should implement some kind of event during the fever break.
No.
Boring. G League Ignite should be at the NBL Blitz next year.
Yes, sir. Yes,
There we
sir,
go.
please.
A dual Melbourne final should be played at Rod Laver Arena.
Yes.
There we go. I think contractually, maybe that may be a tough one to
be
get,
hard.
but we'll still hold on hope.
Yes.
Chris Golding will play past 40 years of age.
He's playing the way he's playing now. Yes.
That's a
past
big
40?
if.
Yes, I was 42.
Well, DMAC as well, there's plenty that went past 40. Illawarra needs to find a way to get Aaron Fern back in the league.
Hopefully someone someday. Maybe Illawarra, maybe someone else. Good coach.
I'm a big Aaron Fern fan, mainly because he knows how to work with these small budget teams. We saw what he did
Yeah.
in Cairns, and it's, a lot of coaches will be able to do well with a big budget team, but
Yeah.
with some of these smaller budget teams, you've got to be able to work stuff.
And his uncle owns a hair transplant, and they can probably get you a little help right there on the side. Yeah, that's why you're a fan. Yeah.
Did you just say what I...
On the other side over there. The other
Oh, well,
side.
you know what? After that comment, I'm going to book my flights right now. I'm going to Turkey, and I'm going to get this hairline fixed up. You enjoy the feed break. You have no fun at all. At home, enjoy.
Beautiful.